Good morning, Stampers. Happy Friday. Welcome to the final of the week, the daily Facebook Lives this week. Today I am finishing off the week with a project that will kind of pull everything that we've created so far this week together. All right, so we're continuing on with using the Friendly Flamingo bundle. And then today I've also thrown in a little bit of the Fine Art Floral DSP, which is from the January to June mini catalog and is not carrying over. But the backside of this DSP, it's just a perfect match for this bundle, I think. The colors work really well. The patterns work really well. I love the backside of this DSP. And then let me flip it over so you can see the other side in case you aren't familiar with this pattern paper. The other side are these beautiful floral patterns. So both sides are amazing, but when we're working with this particular bundle, I think the back side, the side B, works a little bit better. All right, my name is Sherry Roth. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Canada, and normally I do my Facebook Lives on Friday at 11, but the last week of every month I go live daily at 9:30 a.m. featuring a bundle that I'm loving at the moment. So, and this week it's the Friendly Flamingo bundle. So welcome everyone, and happy Friday. Good morning, Lorraine. Good morning, Susan. Good morning, Shara. Good morning, Leanne. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, so we are going to go ahead and get started here. Now, I've got a piece of white cardstock. I'm going to use the Flamingo stamp and Flirty Flamingo and Melon Mambo. So I'm going to stamp my Flamingo the same way that I did, I believe it was the very first day this week. And it's the way that actually I think I did it a couple times. It's the way that I find that the Flamingo stamps best, at least for me and the ink pads that I have. Okay, so I've got my foam mat, I've got my white cardstock, and I'm going to use my Flirty Flamingo cardstock first. Good morning, Dixie. Good morning, Shauna. Happy Friday to you too. So I'm going to ink up the entire Flamingo with Flamingo ink, and then I'm going to stamp off on some scrap paper. Good morning, Linda. And then I'm going to take my blender pen and I am going to pull some of the ink off the Flamingo's beak. Okay. And then I'm going to come back in with my black Stampin' Right marker and ink it up because the Flamingo's beak is black. All right, and then I want to add just a little bit more color to the Flamingo. So I'm going to bring in my Melon Mambo and my sponge dauber. And I apologize, I don't normally wear my bracelets during videos, so if you hear jangling, I'm sorry. I'm heading out right after. We're going to look at a wedding venue. Very excited. So right after this live, we're heading out. Okay. So I just added a hint of that darker pink kind of underneath at the bottom of its neck and then underneath the feathers. And then I want to give it a huff. And stamp it down on here. Make sure that I have a nice, good impression. Since I did stamp off, it is going to be a little bit lighter. So I want to make sure all those little details come out. And there we go. We've got a perfect Flamingo. Man, I love this Flamingo. He's so cute. Okay, and now we are going to bring in this beautiful image. I just need to make sure that I have room. Yes, I do. Okay. And we're going to ink it up with some Granny Apple Green ink. And I can't remember if I stamped off on this or not. Let's just see what it looks like when I stamp off. No, we're not going to stamp off. Okay. All right, so I'm going to ink this up with some Granny Apple, and then I'm going to do that same technique where I'm going to take my blender pen and I'm going to remove just a little bit of the ink. See how much ink that pulls off? So I'm kind of removing a little bit of the ink around the flowers. It takes a lot of ink off. You know what? I may have stamped off because there's a lot more ink than I remember coming off. So wherever the flowers are, I'm just pulling that color off of there so that I can go back with my finger dauber and add some pink. Okay, now I am going to stamp off. I'm going to huff on it, stamp off, and then see how much ink was still on there, but hopefully that got rid of most of it. Thank you for sharing, Shauna. Oh, I don't want Melon Mambo, I want Flirty Flamingo. And I'm going to use a sponge dauber, and I'm going to tap some ink on here. So just where the flowers are. And I know that there's going to be some green, and there is going to be a little bit of overlap with the green and the Flirty Flamingo, but I don't want my flowers to be green. Okay, now we'll give this another huff, and then, oh, I can't see where my cardstock is with that underneath. There we go. Okay, and again, I'm going to push quite hard just to make sure I get all that detail, because these stamps are quite detailed. Good morning, Elaine. There we go. So now I've got all the greenery is green, and my flowers are a different color. So my flowers aren't green. Okay, so now we can bring in the Stampin' Cut and Emboss, and we're going to cut these out. Let's pull out the dies that we need. We need this guy, and we need this guy. All right. So does anybody have any big plans for the weekend? Oh, I'm glad you're enjoying them, Kim. It's always nice to figure out new ways to add color to your stamps. I go through stages, I don't know if anybody else is like this, where I love to color and I color lots. But then there are times when I don't have the patience to color. I do love to color, but you do need some patience in order to color. So sometimes it's nice to know that you can do things like this to add color. Like the sponge daubers are a great way to add color to images, and in so many different ways. Let me just make sure that that's not overlapped. All right. Aw, that's nice. How's your mom doing, Shauna? We are, I think, this weekend is the weekend that we're taking my craft room apart. I have mixed feelings about that. I designed our basement to be used as a studio, so it's kind of sad to take it all apart, but I'm excited to move on to a new space and design a space that will work for me and the way my business is right now. So that's good. I just wish it wasn't 6 weeks from now, that's all. Well, actually more than 6 weeks from now. Okay, the other thing that I've done is I've gone ahead and I've used the Layering Ovals dies, and I've cut the second largest regular oval from white cardstock, and then the largest scalloped oval from Pool Party cardstock. And this, just to give you a heads up, this these are retiring. I was so sad to see that the layering ovals are retiring, because how can you cut an oval? You can't cut an oval. Like, I guess if you have something that's oval shaped, which not very many people do, right? Ovals, it's a more difficult shape to find, and then have to trace it and then cut it out. So those are on the retiring list. If you don't have those, I highly recommend that you pick those up. Okay, so I'm going to stamp a greeting on here, and I'm going to use, I wanted a generic greeting. So I'm going to use this Beauty Abound stamp set, which is another stamp set that is retiring. I loved this stamp set for these two images right here. Actually, these three images. They create such beautiful, subtle backgrounds. Love them. But I'm going to use this For You. Oh, I actually have it mounted on a block already. And I'm going to use Memento ink. I'm going to stamp it kind of towards the middle and on the right. All right, good morning, Tracy. Good morning, Denise. Are you on spring break now, Denise? I know that Ethan doesn't have school today. It's the beginning of spring break. All right. So this is going to go right in the center here so that we have this pretty pool party scalloped border around the edges. And now, if you haven't guessed it already, the project that's going to pull this all together is an acetate, or the product is an acetate card box. So all those cards that we made all week, they're all going to fit in here and be a perfect gift idea for someone. So, and that's the reason why I chose to make it pretty generic. I didn't want to make it birthday. I didn't want to make it thank you. I wanted it to just be generic so that I could use it for whatever, whenever I needed a little gift. Okay, so I've got a strip of that beautiful Fine Art Floral DSP. This is 1.5 inches by 12 inches, I think. Let me just have a look, make sure I've got the right, 1.25. 1.25 inches by 12 inches. Oh, look at all those hearts. That's one of my favorite things, is seeing all those hearts coming up. All right. So I'm going to use my grid mat and just kind of line this up so it's straight. I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive. I'm just using regular adhesive. I'm going to fold this up and in, just like that, just kind of pinching the corners. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side, just a couple strips. Don't you think this is the perfect way to tie all those projects together? You get a nice variety of greeting sets or greeting cards, and then pop them all in a card box and you've got a great gift idea. Okay, so then this guy, again, I'm going to be quite generous with my adhesive for this. This particular seal keeps going back on itself. It's kind of weird. All right, there we go. So this, and then that's going to go right in the center. Just like that. And then this guy's going to go on flat. Oh my gosh, I can't pick it up. So I'm going to strategically add adhesive kind of where it's going to sit on here. So I can add a little bit on its neck, a little bit on its beak right here, and then maybe a little bit on its leg. I don't want to add adhesive where you'll be able to see it through the acetate card box. Oh, I guess I could do a little bit on here as well. So that's going to go on here, just like that. And then this guy's going to get popped up. And I think I'm going to use a strip of dimensionals, and I'm going to put them right on there. again, so that you can't see them from inside the card box. And then this is going to go, you know what? I don't like being able to see his feet popping out, so we're going to cut his feet off. Nobody's going to know though, because the foliage will cover it over. All right. Maybe up a little higher. There we go. And there is our card box. So we can pop all of the cards inside. So let me give you a refresh on the cards. And then I'm going to share one other tip before we go. Okay, so we've got the card box. We've got yesterday's card, which was this cute diorama card. That's our wow project. We've got this fun project that we did on Wednesday, creating that packaging technique background. We've got this wedding card, and then we've got this card, a birthday card. Okay, so we can put them all into our card box along with the envelopes. This particular set, I don't have envelopes to match yet, but the envelopes do fit in here. I'll show you a complete set in just a second. All right, so we can slide these all in here, just like that. Okay, so the envelopes fit, not a problem. But I find that that kind of takes away from how pretty it is on the front, because you can see bits and pieces of the cards inside. So one thing that you could do is you can make sure that an envelope is at the top, so that you have like white in behind. But the other thing that you can do is you can take a coordinating piece of pattern paper and tuck that inside. So what I did was I cut a piece of, this is another pattern from the Fine Art Floral DSP. It measures 4 3/8 by 5 3/4. It's the exact same size as an envelope. And you just slide that inside, and it just gives it a little bit more of a finished look. I'm getting caught on something here. So just slide that in. I didn't adhere it or anything. I just slid it in there. And that, I mean, look at the difference. It's so much more polished. It's so much more finished. It just looks so much better than having, you know, that busyness from a project peeking out from behind. And it really highlights this. All right. So that's the project for today. Just one last reminder that if you enjoyed these projects all week and you would like the card kits, you still have, that includes the acetate box, you still have an opportunity to get those by placing an order of $60 or more from my online shop using this host code, and I will send you all of the pre-cut supplies to create, or the card kits to create all 5 of these projects, as well as a link to, I know, doesn't it look like you can buy this in a store, Shara? I completely agree. As well as a PDF which has the photos, measurements, and links to all the videos so that you can find them easily all in one place. All right? You're welcome for the weekly Facebook Lives. So I'm hoping that I'll still be able to do them in our Airbnb. So hopefully the last full week of April, I'll be back with doing Facebook Lives. I'm not sure what set I'm going to focus on yet. I still haven't decided. I just hope that our connection there is, our Wi-Fi connection is good enough that I can still do my consistent Facebook Lives. So, all right. So I hope you guys have a fabulous weekend. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see my VIPs on Tuesday evening for our Facebook Live there. Take care. Bye, guys.